Hi, my name is Becky Watson. I am an empty nester coach, and I wanted to come on here today just to share a few things with you. Just a little background about me. I am a mom. I am also an empty nester, but right now my nest is not quite as empty as it always is. My son, my youngest, is in college, and just like so many other colleges, he got sent home early because of coronavirus. And so we have shifted back to having him at home, and we're adjusting to that. And what I've noticed is that, our routines are constantly changing, right? We get into a routine and then something shifts in our life and we have to change our routine again. And what I'm noticing is that I am in that process of creating new routines again. Not only is my son home, but everything in life has shifted temporarily. We don't know how long it'll be, but everything has shifted. And so I'm in the process of creating my own new routines for myself. And as I thought about this, I realized other empty nester moms are probably going through this as well. So one of the things that this has led me to is I wrote recently about 3 things to consider with your kids back at home earlier than planned. And probably a lot of these kids were coming home for summer anyway. But yeah, they're home a little bit earlier than you had planned. So just a few things to consider for yourself as you are creating your own new routines around this unusual time of our lives. So the first thing to consider is that your kids have new routines also, and those just got shifted because they are back at home. Your kids, whether they are coming back from college or even have had to move in temporarily because of a job shift or change or loss, some people have had, but your kids have their own routines that they've established. They are in this process of creating themselves as young adults, and they have been doing things like getting themselves to class, getting themselves up, doing their own work, doing their laundry, making sure that they get fed. They have been responsible for this while they're away, and just noticing that they can do that still when they're back at home. It's so easy for us as moms to fall back into that mom role. I spent 20 years of being full-time mom, and I was just all in on it. And having my son back home unexpectedly early, I can feel that coming back, and that urge to mother him. And I'm realizing and noticing that he doesn't need the same amount of mothering that he needed in the past. He is older. He's taking care of himself. He's actually been out of the house for 3 years. He after 3 years, he knows how to feed himself when he's hungry. I don't have to make sure that he eats every day. So just letting him have that and letting him, regulate his own sleep schedule, and me stepping back from that, it's not necessarily easy because like I said, I feel myself being pulled back into it. But knowing that he can do this all by himself, it's okay. I can let him be. So let your kids, let them establish their own routines. It's for your sake as well as their sake. They need it so they can continue to grow into the young adults that they are, and you need it because it's not really necessary anymore for you to micromanage their routines. So let them have their own routines as we settle into this new temporary normal. Who knows how long it'll be. One of the other things that's been coming up is that we all need our space. I am temporarily with him back home early. I'm sharing my office space with him so that he has a place to study, and I am still working out of that same space. So we are sharing that space, but because our schedules, our routines are not the same, we are able to not completely overlap in that sharing of the space. So that is really wonderful. But creating space for yourself Maybe it is just a room in your house that you're like, okay, this is my space for right now. I need this. If you'll just stay out of here temporarily, well, everyone can be themselves in their own space. So, creating that space for yourself. But there's also that mental, emotional space, knowing that you don't have to be all in all the time. You don't have to be in all the discussions. You don't have to be responsible for their emotions, whether it's your kids or your husband or anybody else. Creating that space for yourself, kind of stepping back. Something that we all need right now. I recently... I have been walking the dog most evenings lately. And recently I had my son walk the dog so that I could just walk by myself. And it didn't seem like that big of a change, but that was creating space for just myself. I didn't have to pay attention to the dog. I didn't have to talk to anybody. I didn't have to pay attention to anything but me. I noticed my body as I walked. I noticed what I was seeing, what I was hearing, my own thoughts. It was just such a blessing to have that space for myself. And it was only 30 minutes, but it was not even 30 minutes, but just having that short little time frame, it was what I needed. So creating that space for yourself right now, whether it's inside your house, outside your house, just a few minutes out of your day, but create that mental, emotional, physical space for you, so that you can thrive, so that you can recharge. It is important. And that leads me to the last thing that I wanted to talk about. Your hopes, your dreams, they're really important too. As a mom, we do tend to put things on hold so that we can take care of our kids. I know I did it. I did it for a long time. And it's not necessarily healthy. It's not necessarily setting a good example for your kids to put everything on hold. So remember, even though your kids are back home, you matter too. Your hopes, your dreams, they still matter. So if your dream is to create that beautiful garden this year, go out there and still create that beautiful garden. I know that we're limited right now in what we can do, but there's still so many things that are available to you. So find, or connect to whatever is still important to you and hold that close. If it's, reading a book by yourself, if it's creating something, some piece of art, or maybe it's cooking a beautiful dinner, whatever it is, whatever is important to you right now, hold on to it, because that is how you develop yourself. That's how you stay true to yourself. And that's how you can keep yourself alive. When you're putting, as a mom, when you're putting all of your effort into those outside of you, you lose yourself. So bring some of that effort in and let it be part of the process, or part of your life, rather. So that's all I really wanted to talk about today, was just, everything has shifted. Coronavirus won't be here forever. We don't know how long we're going to be affected by this, but everything has shifted suddenly. Your kids may or may not be back home, but if they are, use some of these tips, create your own space, hold your own hopes, dreams, whatever it is close to you, keep them alive, and create the routines that work for you, but let your kids create their own. You don't need to micromanage them anymore. We needed to when they were little, not so much anymore. See if you can implement any of these things. Notice how your life is going when you start to implement some of these things. And if you'd like any more support in this time of life, because empty nest is not always easy. Yes, your kids have moved out, but then they come home again, then they're out, then they're home. Eventually they move out of, completely, if we've done our jobs right. But empty nest is a huge transition. You've gone from being that full-time mom to mom. Sometimes, sometimes you're more friend, sometimes you're more mentor, but that micromanaging full-time mom doesn't need to be there anymore. So how do you develop yourself in this stage of life. If you need any more support, you can find me online. I'm at beckywatsonyoga.com. I do have several programs that are available. There's an online program, and that is self-paced. You can do it at your own convenience. And there is some personal support. If you need a little more hand holding, I can help with that as well. I've been through it, still going through it, but for the most part, been through it. And you can make this shift. You can come out on the other side, with goals, hopes, dreams, what keeps you alive, your focus on your passion. It's there. We just have to uncover it. So do reach out, if not to me, to somebody else. But again, you can find me online at beckywatsonyoga.com. And on Facebook, I'm at Becky Watson Yoga Therapy. So you can find me there as well. But be well, stay safe. Love and hugs. Talk to you soon. Bye.